I just don't like to fail.
You were an A student in school?
I think it was kind of like the only way. If I do something, I either do it to the end or I don't do it. I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
You knew that you wanted to start a business.
I wanted to create a space where people can actually make memories. Sometimes I like to put myself into like uncomfortable situation, but then you can't go back.
What is the high performance mindset?
Just to keep going with...
Welcome to HPM. In this show, we bring you different high performers from different walks of life with the aim to dive deep into the mindset that enables them to perform at a high level on a consistent base. All right, before we kick off with this episode, if you can do me the small favor and subscribe to this channel, it will really help me bring you more and more high performers to this show. All right, let's kick it off with today's guest, Joseph Mekha. Enjoy this episode.
Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Thank you.
Joseph, I'll go straight to it. You moved here when you were 17 years old because of the war in Syria.
Yes.
Can you please tell me, you remember the first day of the war?
The first day of the war, I don't think so. I remember the first day of the war, but I do remember some parts of the war, obviously. I remember one day that it was me and my brother, we were walking to get like a bread. And there is at the end of the road like a place where they sell like manaish and stuff, you know. So the guy knows us very well. So we were walking, it was me and my brother, and we were walking, crossing to get, walking all the way to the end of the neighborhood to get some bread. And then we turned left, and then this guy all of a sudden comes and like just push us into the entrance of the mall. And it was because there was a car full of like guns and trying to shoot like on both sides with no reason. I felt like that's something that like you don't forget these kind of stuff, I feel like. But I don't know if it was, definitely it was at the beginning, but I don't know when it was, but I don't remember the first day that happened, yeah.
You remember the first day you got to know about the war? Of course, maybe at the beginning it
doesn't hit or something, but I'm trying to think like how did it all start, you know? Like I remember we were already in the war, like, but I don't remember how the beginning of it.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah. Because it started like in 2011. Yeah, so I was like 13, 14, kind of.
Did your life change after the war, during the war, in comparison to before the war?
I mean, it did. Like we were a big family with my cousins, with everything, and then at a certain point in the city I grew up with, we were there for like about a year and a half for the war. After that, it was really difficult, so we had to move to Damascus. In Damascus, we stayed also about like a year and a half, and then we had to come to Dubai. So all these changes, like the change from different cities to different places and countries and all of that, you lose people, you lose your family, you lose a lot of like stuff along the way. So definitely there was a change.
So when you say, because it was difficult, you had to move to another city.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because like the war got very difficult. We had to escape basically twice. The first year, it was at the end of the summer, after the exams and everything. My dad usually works out of the country, so he comes for a month. And usually in that, once he comes back, sometimes my mom would go and they spend like a few days in Damascus before they come back to our city. So my mom went and my dad was there, and then that's where like everything happened the first year. So they couldn't come back to the city and we couldn't go to them, but we were with our like cousin, my aunts and grandparents and everything. So we were safe in that sense. But we were stuck for like about 10 days and you can't like go out. You can't do anything. Like even if you want to get food.
Right, because of the checkpoint or you can't
the checkpoints and everything is like, you see like guns left and right, you know? So you can't just
and
like...
These guys are just killing whoever.
Yeah. Whoever is walking out, and you like say it's not like you're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to walk outside. You know, so you have like some nights I remember like it used to be like the whole building is shaking because of like the bombs and everything. So those also were there at the beginning.
How did you feel?
It was, we were all of us went to one house, which was my aunt's house. It was like the third floor. It felt scary, but at the same time, I feel like because everyone is there, everyone is around you, and also they have like their other cousins in the building. So I don't know. It was definitely something weird. Like we never experienced that. But at that time, also the water wasn't connecting all the time. The electricity wasn't there all the time. So the Wi-Fi. So I think it was fun. And sometimes where let's say if we get connected to the electricity and Wi-Fi, like everyone's gonna go and see like who's gonna connect to the laptop first and do this and that. Like in that sense, I remember also those fun moments. But it's also scary at times. Like I also remember one time that because of like food and everything, we had like someone had to go and bring food, but nobody, like everyone is scared and nobody would ask like any other person to go, you know. So I think I went, me was with my aunt, and you had to like, I don't know, like I don't remember exactly the like how we went, but it's basically like we're hiding behind cars and everything until, you know, you get to the place and to get the food. Like you can't just walk normally, you know, like you had to like just like hide in between cars and everything so nobody sees you walking or anything like that. But I don't like, now you're asking me why, and I'm asking myself like why was that, but I don't know. I think it was just like we were told not to go out. I don't know, to be honest.
Man, that's hard.
Yeah.
What are the things you feel that, let's say with the war that's happening now, and it's not just now in Palestine, it's been happening.
Yeah.
But what are the things that people who haven't been through war cannot relate to them?
I mean, to be honest, like let's say when we first moved to Dubai, not like the different city, because in Damascus it was almost the same. It was safer than Deir Zor, but it was almost the same. But then when you move here to Dubai and like also you see the electricity and water, these are like something here you take for granted. You never think about that, you know, like those. I think people who like these are like maybe not simple things, but it's also like life necessity. Like you've never experienced it if you weren't like in these countries, like let's say now Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and all of that. So these are some things is that you wouldn't think it's like a big deal until you actually go through it. And maybe the idea of thinking like you're losing your life, but then you actually, you know, like make it alive. That's also something you could experience that maybe in like a disease or something also, but also in the war, because the idea of like, it's like you're in a survival mode. You don't know if you're going to make it or not, you know?
How does that change you?
I would say you definitely think about life differently, you know. It's like, for me, when I moved here, it was like I had like a very difficult phase where I felt like I don't want to continue studying. I don't want to work hard enough. I don't, because like at the end of like at any time, it could happen that I'm also gonna die. Like you know, we lost so many people, so probably I'm one of them, but it's next. You know, so you feel like you lose motivation. You lose
really these thoughts.
Yeah,
like...
yeah. It was, and I didn't have that. I would say back in Syria, I had it when I moved here. I don't know why. After like,
so it's like maybe post-trauma.
Yeah. So it was like just a phase that where I couldn't like, you know, like even with studying, I couldn't focus on that. And like it was in the phase where I'm planning to go to university and applying and everything, but I didn't have the motivation, because I'm like why would I work and like, you know, do all this work and like apply blah blah blah, but at the end of like there is no future. Like maybe I'm one of those people also gonna, you know, like your life is gonna be ended soon. So I felt like that I had it for like a phase. It wasn't like too long, but I had that phase when I moved here.
And then how did you get out of it?
How did I get? I think it was just time, to be honest. I don't remember that I went through something to go out of it, but it was just time. Like the more that time passes, the more you feel like you get used to it. And also like, because we're not in that like situation again. Yes, we're hearing the situation every day, like from the news, from our cousins, from everything. So it takes you time to get out of that, like, you know, like a situation in your head, because you feel like you're still living it, even if you moved out, and you have that like guilt feeling. Like, you know, like now I made it here, I have all of these good things, but also the people that were just like a month ago with me, they're still struggling with that. So I don't think I did anything specifically, but I would just say it's time. The time is just like the longer the time passes, we also something like maybe at the beginning, you know, like we were very connected, as I said, with my family, cousins and everything. I got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to text as much, so I don't hear the bad stuff as much. You know what I mean? Like it's not like ignorant, but it's also like exhausting you. Like you're hearing it. Yes, you're not with them, but also you're kind of like living it in your head. So I feel like it was a phase where like this distant, like a little bit of distance happened between me and my cousins and everything, and it was a decision that I made just so I don't keep like on hearing these
So
over
you can
and
be
over.
able to operate
Yeah.
in your life. Otherwise, you'll also feel helpless.
Yeah, because like there's only like so much you can do. You can help them, whether it's like financially, but other than that, there's nothing you can do. You know, like I was there and then I moved there. But if I was there or not there with them, there's nothing that's gonna change. You know, but it takes you a while until you get out of that, I would say, like thing in your head.
All right, let's go back to you growing up, right? You were an A student in
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, I was like very like smart, I would say. Not like smart, but I mean like I had like very good grades, I would say. Yeah, like I was studying, and I also, other than like, I mean, nobody obviously loves school, but I think I had like, my mom was very strict about studying, and also my dad, so we had to always like 9.5 out of 10 wasn't good enough. Something like that.
And how they used to motivate you, let's say?
I mean, like with like, my mom wasn't a lot with the idea of like, if you study or if you're gonna get a good grade, I'm gonna give you a gift or something. My dad was like that, but my mom is like, no, like you have to study because you have to study, but not because there is a gift at the end of it, you know? So I think it's like, not like motivating, more of like helping, you know, maybe like a tutor or something, like
Okay.
also like her help or my dad's help whenever he's around. So it was something, yeah.
What was your, you remember what was your like, schedule like after school?
Back in Syria?
Yeah.
I mean, we would come back after school, we would have lunch, and then maybe like a break for an hour or two. At like, I think in the primary, we had also a tutor that would come, and she was also from school. So we would sit sometimes with like an hour or two, depends on the schedule and everything. After that, we take a break, and if there is anything like we have to follow up, if there is a homework, we have to do that. And then also about timing of sleep, my mom was very strict, like by 7 or 8, we have to be in bed. So, yeah.
So
That
it
was like the
a
schedule.
disciplined house.
Yeah, like very,
Schedule.
yeah. With everything, even like with the amount of money we spend, like she would give us money to school, but when we come back, we have to tell her like, where did we spend this? What did we buy with, you know? So she knows like we're not actually spending the money on something else.
And weekends, let's say.
Weekend on Fridays, I think we used to go like after school. We had like, we go to the church. They give us like some, you know, like lessons and stuff like that about. Yeah,
Religion.
just like, yeah, church like lessons. And after that, we would spend the whole day in the church. Like it was a whole, like a big area outside. So we would spend it with friends and everything. That was like about Friday. Saturday, Sunday, depends. It was like different, but also sometimes with friends, with my mom. Like it was more of like family friends, you know, like my parents' friends are also like, their kids are also our friends. So it was all like gathering like that.
Of course, but when the war happened, all
Oh,
that
no,
went
yeah,
out the window.
nothing. Yeah. Because like I mean, to be honest, that was at the beginning. Like again, like in back, like when I told you like we escaped twice, I said the first year it was like that. So we went for 15 days to another city because my mom and dad couldn't come. So we went to my mom's city because we had like on my mom's side of the family there, and it was safe as a city. So we had to leave. We like, it was like in a van and everything, and also like it was very hard to arrange a van because you need to have like the secured van and everything, and there was like specific timing that we can actually go. So my aunt's brother-in-law, like he was the one who was coordinating everything, and so yeah, we just had to escape, and it was only for 15 days. Then we went back, everything was normal after the summer. So we only like, we had like, you know, a few things in the suitcase and we left. And it was like after those 15 days in the other city was safe. It was nothing. So after we left, was nothing there in those 15 days. It was normal. You hear the news and everything, but in there the situation was fine, except for the water and electricity that was all over Syria. The following year, I was a grade 9. And in Syria, I'm not sure, here it's not the same, but in Syria, grade 9 and 12, is different. Like the whole country does the exam at once, so it's not like an easy exam or an exam you can skip, because you have to repeat the whole year if you skip. So I was grade 9, and we were doing, also during that year, like from the summer until the summer, there was lots of things happening, but it was normal, not like we can't go out and everything. Obviously it wasn't safe, but still like you have to live your life. You can't like just stay at home. So we got to the exams. It was like over 2 weeks because they give you a break. So since it's grade 9 and 12, usually they use the same school places for the exams. So like one day us, one day grade 12 and stuff like that. So for 2 weeks. And in that, like I remember in those days where like if we want to go to the exam, we had to watch from the balcony. Like, is there people actually walking to the exam? Like, can we go? Because the same thing repeated that happened last summer. The same exact thing where you can't go outside. All the shops are closed. Like, it's hard to get food. It's hard. Same exact thing repeated. So many people left, but also most people who didn't leave were people who are doing the exams, or they couldn't for some reason to leave. We were one of those people who, like I had to do the exam because you feel like it's a big deal. It's not like a regular exam where you can skip it.
You're gonna ruin the whole effort of the whole year.
So like during those days, like we were like checking if it's actually safe to go. Like we walk outside, we look from the balcony and see like, can we actually go to the exam and everything. And we finished the exam, but also I remember one of like the tough times, it was in the math exam. So we had, and also whenever we would go to the exam, your parents or something, they would wait you outside for the exam period, and then we would go. So it was my mom and brother, they went with me, and they were outside of the school. And like there obviously in Syria, like the people who were like with and against and all of that. So many different like names. I don't want to name names and everything. So they came, like a group of people came with a van, and they were all masked up and with the guns and everything. And also they started like shooting, but it was in the air, like nothing in the school. But like that's in front of my brother and mother and all the families and everything. And then they had I don't know, like they hid somewhere because they had like these people, they wanted to go into the school. So they went into the school, and also we couldn't see them because they were all masked. And they started like walking into these classes because there are so many classes doing the same exam. I still remember that I was like in the end, the last like seat on the, like if you walk from here, like on the left. And the instructor who was with us in the room, she was kind of with these group of people, So she was asking us kind of to hype them up. So, but this would, like it would create a mess, like whether you say you're against or with them, it would create a mess. So it was so scary that you see these people walking, doing the exam, like we were shaking the whole time, we couldn't read, and they have the guns with their hands, like over, and they were just trying to scare. But at that moment, you don't know if they're actually gonna shoot anyone or like what their intention of that, So I remember that was like a very difficult, because like after they left, the teachers and everyone was trying to cheat, and they give you the papers and everything. But even when they give me the papers, I couldn't write anything. Like you were still in that shock, you're shaking, and even if you have but you can't even write, So that's also one of the tough timings, I feel like, in that. So after that, we finished the full 2 weeks, and then we had to go, and it was also like actual escaping. You go into the car, but also you feel the guns from everywhere. So you don't know if you're actually gonna make it along the way or not. You see like burnt cars along on the road and stuff like that, other than the checkpoints and all of that. And also my dad, because he works out of the country, he wasn't there. So it was only me, my mom, sister, and brother. And my mom had to drive the car at that time. We were like just trying to check like what is the safest way out. Like my dad's cousin was also following us with the car. And at that point, we only had like us and this, like my dad's cousin. So the rest of my family couldn't make it at that time. They needed like extra like vans and everything, but it was so hard to arrange. And we definitely all of us don't fit in the same car. So, that was like the second time we escaped, I think. And we went also to the same, like my mom's city, the same side of the same place. And after that, we stayed there for like a month and a half, and that when we moved. And so we thought it would be the same thing, right? Like after 2 weeks, you would come back, and it was the last time we went back. So we couldn't, after that, it was like I've never visited the place after that, like since what it was 2012, I think. We couldn't, like we stayed in Damascus for like a year and a half, and also when things got worse like that when we moved. But to my original city, we never came back after that day. That was like the last thing.
As a kid, did you have any dream like of a particular job you wanted to become?
I always like wanted to be famous, but I didn't know. That's the thing. Like I felt like I had this in my mind, but it was like never like
Do you know who or what inspired that thought in your head? Or you saw a character that you're like, yeah, this is the type of person that I want to become.
I want to be like or something?
Or inspired you?
I don't think so. I don't know why the idea of fame, I felt like I thought like, these people, like whether it's like the actors or like the singers are always like, they're so cool and everything, and everyone is like loving them. And that's the idea probably in my head. But yeah, that's, I think, like there was nothing else that I was like, I always like trying, like I was trying like to see what can I be when I grow up, other than what my parents want me to be, an engineer. So it's like, so yeah, I think it took me a long time until I figured it out, even after I graduated from engineering, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. It was all ideas in my head.
And let's say when you were a teenager, did it change? Or it was always the same dream, like?
No, I think it changed in a way that it was just like a small idea, like maybe I want to be famous, something like that, But then the older I got, the more like I knew how I wanted, let's say, be famous. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew how, like I put the plan how to get there. Stuff like that. But at a younger age, it was just like an idea, but you don't know anything about that idea,
And then you move here, you were 17.
Yeah.
So what, you had 1 more year to finish school?
I had, yes, 3 months. It was here, they had like trimesters, like in the school. So they had the last 3 months of the school of grade 11.
And there in Syria, is it in the subjects all in Arabic, or is
Everything
it also?
is Arabic.
So now you coming here, like what level was your English?
It was like basically I know a few sentences, few words and everything. That's it. Because in Syria they teach you, like we have like a subject like one hour a week. That's it. But also in the city, it's different in different cities, in each city. So in Damascus is more focused on English and French, but back in like where I grew up, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
Like even when they explained the English lesson or something, they would explain it in Arabic. Like I remember like the French and English, they would read the whole paragraph, and then they would make us write another paragraph in Arabic. So you don't know which word is which word, You just memorize like this is that, but you had no idea like which is which. So, and also the way they speak it, and like it just like the whole explanation was in Arabic, and it was supposed to be an English class.
Because I was thinking, if that was the case, and then moving here, it will be a challenge, like with finishing school and then uni.
Yeah. It was very difficult because my dad, obviously most of the schools here are in English, and also my dad decided to put us in English school. Is like, because you have to do university in English, so start now, But it was
so
because it's crucial, like years, like quarter of grade 11 and then grade 12. So the only thing that it was easy is that the education in Syria was harder than here. So like I would understand, especially math and physics. Like I don't know what they're saying, but I could I remember these stuff.
You already know the formula. Yeah. It's just about now like translating.
So but like luckily we had a lot, like most of the professors in the school were also like either Lebanese, Syrian, Palestinian. So we explained to them the situation. I'm like I know these stuff. I can, like study them, but you have to explain to me.
So
like,
how did you go about improving yourself? You remember the things you used to do to help yourself learn English? Were you taking like extra, tutor sessions in English, or What did you
Yeah,
do?
so they actually had to put us like extra 3 hours after school. So we finished at like it was 2, and we still like I had a break for 1, and then 3 hours it was extra. It was for English, for like other subjects and everything. So they kind of forced us into this system of like the after school hours. So this is part of it. Like I was trying, and also like these like the same professors would teach you, so that's also made it a little bit easier, you know, so they understand, like they tell you like, okay, they see me in class that I'm not understanding, you know, whatever they're saying, but also in after school they try to help me and all of that. But when it gets to the exam, I was like I know, let's say, how to solve the question, but I didn't know how to read it at the beginning. Like the first few exams, they had to come and tell me like, this is like it, like I read, but I don't understand exactly what it means.
Question?
Yeah. So they used to like come and like explain to me and everything. And since we paid for extra school hours, also they used to like take a little bit care of like that in the exam, because like how could we do that? But they were understanding because so many people from Syria moved at that time, you know, so even the schools were understanding in that sense. Like for the English subject, that's the only the class that I wouldn't be with the other people. I had to go like to very like low level of English, and then wherever, like if you get there 100, they would put you 70 in the actual class. So that also like was like a very low level, but it helped a lot. It was also part of, like at that time, YouTube. So I used to watch, even though I don't understand, but I'm like just like getting my ears like, you know, like used to the English speaking. And I think after that, like because it's also like in these studies are the words are repetitive, but like whenever I'm studying, I'm holding the phone and I used to translate like word by word to solve the homework. That's at the beginning, and then later on like few words of the question until you get into that. But it was a whole process of like Google Translate, like the whole thing until like, you know, you know how to do the
what do you tell yourself when you get tired? Or
that time it was, I told you, like it was also very tiring, and it was the same time where I felt like I don't want to do all this work because it might, you know, like I might not even make it to university or everything. So it was a difficult time, definitely. But
so how you used to push yourself?
I think it was kind of like the only way. I just don't like to fail. I don't like to, like, if I do something, I either do it to the, you know, to the end, or I don't do it. So I hate the idea of like I couldn't do this, you know, or I failed or something. Like that's just like something that I don't like. So I think like I was doing everything not to like fail at least. Yes, I mean I was like you get easy on yourself, like you, okay, but I don't understand English, I don't do this, like I'm not gonna, you know, be as good as when I was in Syria, like get full grades or anything, but at least not to the point where I fail. Like I've never failed any class in my life, not in university, not in school, not in anywhere. So I think that idea was like always with me, like I wanna, you know, like.
Do you think that I think identities plays a big role in how the actions we take.
Yeah.
So if I have the identity of I am an A student, I don't fail. So even if I'm going to go down because of one subject is pushing me down on the average, right? Now I have to push myself harder to raise it, right? And that identity is what makes me feel really uncomfortable to not do well, and then becomes pushing you.
Yeah.
So you think that identity, where did it come from?
Like you mean the identity of like I don't want to fail?
Yeah. Of me, I'm an A student. Like
I don't know like where it came. It could be like the way my mom and, you know, dad raised us. I think that's definitely part of it, because they always like pushed us to like get like even for my dad, like he was easygoing in everything. He's still until now, like my mom is a strict one, my dad is very chill, very easygoing, except for studies, you know, like that was his one thing. Like I would get you everything you need, you just need to like be good in school. So that was like the only thing from my dad that like he would ask us for. And my mom was strict in general and extra with the studies. So I think growing up with this like like way of thinking, it just like it's installed in you, kind of, maybe.
Yeah. And then uni, you ended up getting into RIC.
Yes, RIT. So actually, like I lost 1 year at that time because I couldn't get I was applying for, like after I graduated, I applied for university in Canada. I got accepted, but it was also like a very difficult to get visa at that time for Syrians. So but they did, like I got rejected the first time. I think it was in summer, so I had to reapply again. And there was a delay until like mid of the next semester, so I couldn't enroll in university, so I lost the first semester. Then we switched and I applied for American university, and I got accepted with my grades and all, but then the visa also I couldn't make it for the visa, so I lost like a full year. And after that, when we gave up, like there's no way I can go out like out of Dubai, so we just had to enroll in here, and I enrolled in RIT. Yeah.
Then you took engineering.
Yes, I took what my dad wanted me to do. Same thing as even mechanical engineering, same thing as what he did. And yeah, I think, I wouldn't say like I didn't want to do engineering. It's like...
So there was a part of it that you like engineering?
Not like engineering in like specifically, but like the idea in my head, like I knew I needed, like other than fame and everything at that point, like I told you, like my thoughts were like more shaping, and I knew like kind of what I need to like, or I'm getting closer to what I want to do. So I knew that I needed something also in business, like a mix between this, like whether it's being like the fame or like the business. But also that for me, I'm good in math, I'm good in physics, I'm good in my studies. Why would I study? And I'm taking this degree as a backup. Like I wanted to go into university and have a backup. So I'm like, why don't I and my dad wants me engineering, then it's doable. And studying is studying. Whatever you study, you have to put in the work, So why not get like a higher kind of degree? That was the idea. So that's how I...
Basically, what interests you in the mechanical engineering is the subjects.
The subject, and it's more of like hands-on. I don't like really like softwares and computers and stuff like that. I like to do things with my hand. So I think that's why like I chose the mechanical engineering rather than other stuff.
And then how was your experience in uni?
It was good. The beginning was also like still where I'm like in that year I was like learning a lot of English.
Remember your thoughts, like going through uni?
Like now, like I just remembered something when you said you remember your thoughts. I remember like especially at the beginning, like when the professor was explaining, I was like zoning out, and I'm like I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Like you get like did I make the right decision in getting into like mechanical engineering? Like it was just like some thoughts where like you feel like, I don't know, it's like not guilty, but at the same time you feel like you're just not in the place where you want to be, but at the same time you don't know where you want to be. It's in that phase. So now when you said it, like I just like I don't know, the picture I remember even which class it was at the beginning, where I was like, it was difficult, still part of the English, like because we moved like to a different subject, so different keywords, different everything. So it's kind of the same repetition of the school at that time. And also part of it, like I didn't like engineering that much. So the whole thing was like a lot of questioning in my head, and also I was thinking like now that I got into engineering, then I have to work in engineering afterwards. That was a bit like difficult to get.
Also difficult to push yourself because you're not even excited what's going to happen after.
Yeah.
But of course now I understand that you have the mindset that we finish what we started.
Yeah.
So, and then the final year you moved to New York.
The final year, yeah. During that time I was like trying to apply.
So the university, RIT, is affiliated with a university in New York?
Yes, the main campus is in New York.
Okay.
It's Rochester, New York, and then they got like one here, one in China, and one in Croatia, I think.
Okay.
So it's easy to move, like if you got the visa, obviously. Yes. It's easy to transfer between different campuses. So I was trying to apply through all the years until like last year that I got the visa, and then I moved there. I went like for they had like this option where it's like a study abroad, like it's 1 semester, but I like after the first semester that they allow you to do that, I had to transfer for the second semester, and then I graduated from there.
You remember first getting to the Big Apple?
Yeah.
In New York.
And it was in the summer. I went like 15 days earlier, and the university was in Rochester, but I went to New York City first. And then it was like, it was just like, I remember like getting like like walking from like the subway station towards Times Square. And it was just like, you know, you look around and like you see these in movies and everything, but it was like now it's like a reality, like you're here. And especially for me, like I was like trying to get there for so long, you know, like the idea in my head, like I just want to study and I just want to finish there.
And this was your first time in the US, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, going straight to New York is...
It was crazy.
So when you got there, like straight away you moved in campus or you're staying outside?
Yeah. So I had, like I told you, I had like 15 days. I booked earlier before the university starts. So I stayed 1 week in New York, and then I visited Los Angeles also for a week. After that, I had to move to the campus where it is. And yeah, they give you like these like multiple options where you stay at the dorms and everything. So I rented with some people through university. And it was also like a huge difference between the campus in Dubai and the campus in New York. Like the campus in Dubai, we had one building, and in New York, it was like one building for each department. So it was a huge, like if you want to walk in the campus, maybe it takes you 20 minutes or something. Like, and in Dubai, it was only one building, that's it. Like everyone knows each other there, like nobody knows one, like nobody, you know, because it's so big. Even the professors sometimes don't even remember you, like if you don't interact with them. So it's like a totally different experience than Dubai.
And culture-wise, was there any culture shock for you, like trying to adapt some things which you felt were different from how you've been living, let's say, in Syria
I
or
think
Dubai?
It wasn't like a big culture shock because I moved from Dubai, not from Syria. If I moved from Syria, I would say yes. But in Dubai, because it's also like everyone here is like, you know, there's so many nationalities. So you kind of like get used to that, but it's in a different way. Like in not like in New York, in the US in general, people go there and everyone wants to be American. You know, like here, everyone just stay to their like culture. Yes. So that was a huge difference between, I feel like, here and there. Like there, they just like all want to be like one type, you know? Here, nobody wants to be like a different nationality or nobody want to be localized, you know? Like something like that. That was like, I love this about Dubai. Because here, like, also, like I'm sure about like you for Syria, there's Syrian communities, there's all the communities, but at the same time, like everyone lives with each other and nobody wants to be the other person or the other nationality.
Yeah, we appreciate that we're different.
Yeah.
And our differences, we actually appreciate it. It's just, especially in our boot camp group.
Yeah.
I can't name how many nationalities are there. So while you were in uni, did you work or?
I did work, and that was the idea. Like I wanted also to go there. I wanted to work on my English because when I was still in Dubai studying, because so many of the people around me are Arabs, so my English was very bad. So I was like, I didn't have the courage to speak. Like I got to a point where I'm like, yes, and I'm understanding the class, 70% at least of it and everything, but at the same time I can't like speak or I can't ask in the class or anything. I didn't have that like confidence to do that because I felt like my English is bad, and also because I was surrounded by so many Arabs, you know. So if you put yourself like directly with people who don't speak Arabic, then you're kind of forced to do it. But it was difficult here to do it because so many people speak and understand Arabic. So when I went there, the first thing I wanted to do is to work, just so I practice my English and everything. So I remember I went and it was like a Mexican restaurant. It's like similar to Subway, where like, you know, like we just like put the fillings and everything, but they sell like tacos and like burritos and stuff like that. So I told her like I want to be in like I told her like I want to work and everything because you have to get accepted. You have to give your CV and everything, even though it's like on campus. But I told her like I have only, you know, like one inquiry, like I need to be in the front. I don't want to be, because sometimes they make you work in the kitchen because, you know, like you only need to work for the money. I told her the money is not the issue for me, but for me I just need to practice English and I want to socialize with people. So if I can't work on the front, like, you know, where like I'm socializing with the student, I don't need the job. And then it was difficult because also like I didn't speak English that good at that time. So to understand what they're saying, it was like kind of difficult. But then I got the job and I started working for like the full semester. And
do you remember your thoughts before asking for the job? Like, hey, will they accept me or not? Or
I remember I don't think it was about that, but I remember that I like when I first got like it was before classes, before anything. I'm like I don't wanna like feel like embarrassed later on. I wanna just do it right away. So like sometimes I like to put myself into like uncomfortable situation, but then you can't go back. So that's why I'm like if I got the job first at the beginning, there is no way I can go back. So that's like the thought in my head. Like the first like few days, I needed to get a job and then focus
This
on
is
like,
as soon as you got to
the campus. Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah. After like I finished like whatever we had to do, the schedule and everything.
Maybe someone else would be like, yeah, let me first, settle in.
Yeah.
And then start the semester.
No.
See how things are going.
Then you're gonna have a second thought. Then maybe I should do it, maybe not. But then when it's like on the spot, you don't really overthink it, and then you're stuck.
And I guess that's because you already know yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like you're playing mind tricks with yourself.
Yeah.
Because you already know how your mind, what thought it will bring you once you start.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you maybe, maybe we should push it to after the semester and delay, and then you'll never actually learn.
Do it, yeah.
I totally agree with that. I remember even when I started my MBA, and it was a long time since like I did, my degree. The gap was big, and I was working at the same time, and I was feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Probably not understanding anything, and I'm like, just one thing. I'm just saying, Hisham, just stick it, just that's all. Just there's that option also. Same, I think I share with you is that. Yeah, if I start something, I don't.
Once in it.
Yeah, once you're in it, until you finish it, regardless of how you feel.
Exactly. So it's like the first step, you have to push yourself to the first step, and then.
And then, so you finished your semester. You stick to the same job.
Yeah, that was the first job. And then I knew that at that time I also, like I told you, like my thoughts were like, I was out of that mindset, like I'm now studying engineering, then that's it, that's my life. Like I got out of that. I started like thinking, brainstorming, like what do I want to do? And I was like telling myself, like even if you graduate with this, even if you're studying for like 4 or 5 years, this is not the end of it, like you can always start, like even after like you, like I don't want to say like wasted those years, but like at any age, I was like at the beginning it was like, oh, I'll be older. I don't know if I should just like scratch all of that and start over. Like those ideas at the beginning were there, but then after that I'm like, no, like even if I have to finish it, and then I start the next thing I want to do. Like I get this maybe as a backup, like to get my parents proud as like what they wanted me to do. But at the end of the studying, I kind of like started knowing what I want to do. And I knew that like I wanted to start something in business, and it was also part of it like about coffee. So I wanted to work at Starbucks.
How did that idea of, I want to start a coffee business came?
It wasn't like only about the coffee business.
You knew that you wanted to start a business.
Yeah. At the beginning it was a business, and it was more of like, like I needed something that I like, and I needed to create like in my head like a space, not like a coffee shop. Like I always called it at the beginning a space, where people like come to study, work, make memories, sometimes like content creation also, that's part of it. We do workshops and all of that. So I think that's like the idea for me. Like the coffee shop, what I like about the coffee shop, like in general, when you go there and like you kind of like there's a routine, like every day you go to this coffee shop, so you're building a lot of memories. Maybe you had your first interview there, maybe you had like you met someone there, so all of these like ideas in my head, like I wanted to create a space where people can actually make memories and feel like they're like at home or something like that. So that's why like when I start something, I like to understand it, like get the insights before I start anything. So that's why the second semester I wanted to apply for Starbucks. And I got accepted, like also for the job. And it was, I think at some point I was working both, like because they give you some hours. So I was doing like both shifts, like some hours here, some hours there.
You didn't feel like this might mess up your studies or?
No, I felt, see, for me, something that if my time is filled, I like that. Like I hate when I have so much time, because I feel like you start like just overthinking, and you know, like you don't know what to do, and it's just like you get sometimes into like maybe like this depressing thoughts, you know. So I feel like whenever my time is filled, my schedule is filled, even if it's like exhausting, even if I'm like getting tired, but I would rather do that than just stay and not do anything.
This version of Joseph that doesn't like, you know, empty time.
Yeah.
Was it always like that, even as a kid, or was it maybe after?
I think it was kind of always like that, but I think like when I was a kid, I didn't have the courage to do stuff or explore. But it was when like it was a certain time of my life where I'm like, you know, like I just like, if I want to get to where I want to get, like I can't just not like be open to explore new things, be open to go out, try different things. I think when I took that decision to do this, that's when I think my time was like filled, because now I know like I need, you know, like back in Syria, it's not a usual thing to work. And even here, I think while you study, it's not very common, you know, like for a student to work and study. So, but I always heard about this idea.
But it's not
common. Yeah, I think so. I don't know about here, how much, because like when I was here, it was like a year and something for school. But in Syria, I know like some people do, obviously, but it's not like, I mean, as common as like in the Europe or the US. But I had so many cousins. I had so many cousins in Sweden, so they always were telling us about these. Like in the summer, they give them summer jobs from school. They had to work certain hours and all of that. And I love that idea. Like I love to be busy. I love to do things again, like with my hands and everything. So I don't mind working. And yeah, that's when I started working in Starbucks. And it wasn't a full semester, it was like 2 months and a half. And it was March when COVID hit, and then we had to stay home after that. So like it was like, because I graduated in May 2020, so in March that everything closed, so we couldn't work on anything, so we just stayed in dorms. So we were studying from dorms, doing everything from the dorms.
And then you moved to LA.
And that's, yeah, like after May 2020, I was applying also, even though I didn't like engineering that much, but I applied for Masters of Engineering, and I wanted to do it in LA. And I applied for a few universities, and I also got accepted. It was like after, yeah, I think in May 2020 when I moved to LA, it was over the summer, because we were stuck. We couldn't come back to Dubai at that time. My brother was with me at that time. So I'm like, why are we staying here in New York? Let's just go, because I already like, you know, like I'm starting in 3 months. So let's go and get like used to the city and everything. And that's when I moved to LA.
And then in LA, you also worked there, or only did your master's?
I did, but it was different kind of work. Like I didn't work on campus or anything. It was most of like the masters I did, it was online too. But it was always like, oh, maybe next month we're gonna come back, maybe next semester. So I couldn't come back from Dubai and study from here, because it was like there was no point for me to stay if I'm studying more of the things online. But obviously at that time nobody knew when we're gonna come back, and it was the visa issue and everything, so I had to stay. So, but it was also not like a very good, like back when I was again like on campus, like with studying, and then I go like these like 3-4 hours a day the work, and then I go to the gym, then I have to follow up with so there was no time. But then when I came to like COVID hit, and then I moved to LA, it was like 180-degree difference. I was in my room the whole time. There's nothing. You can't like even like at some, like even the beaches at some point they closed them in LA, so we can go out or something. But like moving to a new city, and also my brother was with me only for the summer, and then he went back to New York to finish. When the semester started, the school was on Zoom. It was still a new thing, and I'm spending all the time in my room. I had also roommates that I didn't know much, so it was a very difficult time for me, because like I have like all day is free. There's nothing.
So how did you deal with it?
At the beginning, it was very like, I think, tough for me, because I was bored. Also like no motivation to study, and I'm like, I just want to do something, you know, but there's nothing you could do. Not even the gym was open.
What did you do to adapt to that?
To be honest, it was at the beginning, there was nothing you could do. I was just like, you know, going with whatever until like the city started to open up. But other than that, it was like maybe sometimes I meet my roommates or something. You go out for a walk, study. But even like with the Zoom thing, like I couldn't make any friends because nobody would have the camera on. So you're just staring at like a black screen for like, it was like master classes, also some of them like 3 hours. And we just like at the laptop like for 3 hours. So imagine like you're just staring at a black screen. Some of the professors even, they wouldn't turn the camera on. So it was just so annoying. Like you're just like, you know, like it's just like it's a new thing. If it was like later on, like what happened in New York is fine because you already made some friends, you already know them. Even on Zoom, you know their names, you message this and that if you need help. But this was like, I had like no one. Like at the campus, I only visited the campus when I needed to pay money. But other than that, like I didn't even know the classes or anything about the university. So at the beginning, it was just, yeah, like you just have like, I don't know, like how I spent my time. It was just like, I don't know, maybe talk with family, study as much as I could, and going for walks outside, whatever was allowed at that time. After that, when it was like starting to open up, I started like going and I needed to work. On campus, obviously, I wasn't even on campus, so there was no work on campus. So I was trying to figure out what ways can I work. And in the US, when you go on F1 visa, you're not allowed to work anything other than what you're studying, you know, and there's also certain hours and all of that. But obviously I can't work with engineering because I haven't graduated yet. Then I tried to see like, I don't know, maybe like I was like the only option for me, maybe I go to like Arabic restaurants. If I see also Syrian, they would maybe allow me to work. And that's how like, yeah, I started like just looking for restaurants and everything until I found like a one place that was kind of close. And it was like, I had to prepare like shishas and everything, but it was something. And I was like happy with it because I'm like I have like at least, you know, like 5-6 hours a day that I'm busy with something, you know, the full day is like just empty. And that's what like the beginning of the work in LA. Then after that, I was trying to get connected. Like there are so many events there where you can like promoters and all of that. And one of my roommates was working in modeling, and he got a job for like 3 weeks, but he had to go back to his home country. So he said like, if you want to do this, you can go instead of me, and then I could put the check under my name because I'm not allowed to work. So that's what we did. Like he sent my pictures and everything to the organizer, and then they accepted me. And that's like, it was event for like Louis Vuitton. It was like a very huge event. You see so many celebrities, so many like, you know, high-end people. That was like very fun. But it was like long hours. There wasn't much work to do other than like maybe standing, you know, like greeting people and all of that. But like one of the days we worked like 16 hours. Yeah, like they give you some breaks here and there, but then we have to cover like it's very, because it's very high end, so they just need so many people, you know. So but it was fun because I was like surrounded by, again, like people, you know, like that's like the idea of LA. You go and meet celebrities and all of that. So I was like happy about that at that time, that I'm surrounded by these people. And I got connected to so many guys who would do the same type of job. And then I continued. I did so many of these until, yeah. Other than that, I also worked in like wedding venues where we also had to, like, it was good money, especially the Armenians wedding venues, they tip you very well. So I was like, because I had the idea in my, like, other than I wanted to fill my time, at that time I was like getting closer to what is the business, when I want to do it, and then I needed to save some money for it. So that's why I was also like taking as much as I can. Sometimes I was like, let's say, working in the restaurant, and then I had to cover the event. So I would do twice, like 2 shifts a day. So yeah.
And during your last year, that's when you came to Oman and to Dubai, and you started
the business. Yeah, I took actually before, like I had 1 semester left, so I took a semester off. And then the summer, so it was like an 8 months thing. But at that time I was like, I thought the business would take you 2 to 3 months to set up the whole thing. So I'm like, maybe I open the business and then I stay there for like the 5-6 months, and then I come back to finish up my project. But the business took way longer than that. It took like 6-7 months. So I ended up not having enough time. After I opened the business, I had to go back to finish my last semester, because you're, as also an international student, you're only allowed to take one semester off. You can't take more. So yeah, I just came back in that time before I graduate, and I started setting up the business and everything. Then I left.
And now we have
Domicile.
Domicile coffee, which we got to the end of the episode, and now you're also running your coffee shop business and also working in real estate. There was so many questions I would have asked, but nonetheless, I've been to your coffee shop. I like it. Definitely encourage everybody to go there. It's a nice space. You go there, you work. I've worked there many times that I can remember. I like the vibe. It's quiet. It's meant for a place where you come and work, or you have a chilled conversation, coffee. You can go and have your coffee, your dessert, sandwiches, or my favorite, acai bowl.
In Domicile.
So I see all your experiences coming together, the working in the Mexican restaurant, or is it a deli?
Yeah.
And then with the coffee shop. So I definitely, and you host a lot of events
Workshops.
there.
Yes.
You work with different influencers and coaches, painters, you name it. You provide a very nice space for these events and communities. So today's episode is sponsored by Domicile. And
Since
on
it's
the last,
sponsored, sorry. I was saying, since it's sponsored by Domicile, I got you actually some gifts from the coffee shop.
Thanks.
Some merch that we sell in coffee in Domicile.
All right. Ooh la la.
The same
My
T-shirt
favorite
that
color.
I'm wearing.
There you go. Hold on, I've got a mug with that I had. All right. Okay, on a final note, what is the high performance mindset for you? A mindset a person should have to have high performance, to be a high performer.
I think just to keep going with, no matter what the situation is, you just have, it's hard. It's hard to say it okay, let's just keep going. Oh, let's do this. It's not obviously an easy thing, but it's just the idea of not giving up, or the idea of everything is possible once you put the work into it and the hours and everything. It's gonna happen. Sometimes, obviously, you can do a lot and then it doesn't happen, and then it's not meant for you. But in general, I would say everything is possible once you have the right plan, the right actions for it, and you just keep pushing. But it's if you give up from the first or second trial, then this is not definitely a high.
I totally agree. Joseph, this has been a long time. We've been talking about it and we finally did it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me. And it was a very, I think, nice episode. I don't know how long it's been because I didn't feel like the time. It was so fast.
Yeah, time flew.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Thank you.